Kenyan streets have been louder, not with politics as usual, but with a generation demanding answers. From rising taxes to unemployment, from online hashtags to real world protests, young Kenyans are stepping forward and asking a simple question: is anyone listening? This isn't just a frustration. It's a shift in power, in voice, and in political awareness. Today, we break down the protest, the governance, questions behind them, and what this moment means for the future of our democracy.
10 years ago, if you had looked at the social media space, what the youth were interested in was more or less posting selfies, and trying to look good and cool. But nowadays, the youth are actually really interested in politics.
Yes.
Hence, if you look back in 2024, we had the Gen Z movement.
Yes.
Now, the Gen Z movement was a movement of political and social awareness.
When you have been given a lot, in terms, and our politics becoming more expensive because of these resources that are allocated the members of parliament. Now,
Absolutely.
the generation are feeling, this new generation are feeling frustrated because of those things. They feel services are not reaching them because of matters corruption.
One, my friend, let me tell you.
Majority of youth are now pulling away. If you realize, they are not really particularly interested in politics that
No.
much. They are interested in politics that is geared towards development.
Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap.
My Kenya, my country, my home. I love you, Kenya. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because of love.
Take part and be part of this movement called Gen Zs by just showing them what that good thing, that little thing that you've done. Show them the progress that is being put in place. And then these guys will subscribe to your thought. Kenyan streets have been louder, not with politics as usual, but with a generation demanding answers. From rising taxes to unemployment, from online hashtags to real world protests, young Kenyans are stepping forward and asking a simple question: is anyone listening? This isn't just a frustration. It's a shift in power, in voice, and in political awareness. Today, we break down the protest, the governance, questions behind them, and what this moment means for the future of our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Zagia.
And I'm Ombima. And today our topic is going to be about youth and social media in politics.
Yes.
I think this is an interesting space, given that 10 years ago, if you had looked at the social media space, what the youth were interested in was more or less posting selfies, and trying to look good and cool. But nowadays, the youth are actually really interested in politics.
Yes.
Hence, if you look back in 2024, we had the Gen Z movement.
Yes.
Now, the Gen Z movement was a movement of political and social awareness, and it had an impact in Africa and abroad. And when we look at the impact that it had in Africa, for example, we have had Gen Z movements in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Madagascar, okay, to name a few. So there is a lot to be said about the youth of nowadays. They're politically aware, they know more of their rights, and they're not just primitive consumers as people would have thought of in the past.
They are even amplifying their voices via social media spaces
Absolutely.
because of the frustration they are getting from the political class.
Exactly.
What should we do right so that these guys should feel part and parcel of the government policies and of these parties going into the election of 2027?
I think when it comes down to it is each party should be held accountable. You cannot come and tell us that you're going to give us roads, you're going to bring electricity, you're going to give water, and then on the ground, none of that exists, And these are things that are being told every day by every politician that comes into power, empty promises, which in the end don't pan out. So now the youth are asking those questions. And on top of that also, one of the biggest issues is corruption. We keep on listening to how our national debt is going up and up every day, but yet there's nothing to show for it, or there's very little to show for it. The debt does not justify what the loan was given for.
Yeah, majority of the youth are also feeling that the government and those who are appointed in positions, elected in positions, are not doing what they're supposed to do. That's what we were saying before.
Exactly.
Let leaders account for the little finance they've been given. If you've been, I don't even know why the government still holds matters to NHIF with the constituency or members of parliament. I believe as a member of parliament should just be there for legislation purposes. Matters
Absolutely.
pertaining to constituency development or other factors need to be left for the counties
Counties
and the
down
national
to
government. Because
ground
yes,
level.
these are things that bring friction. Now, where the corruption comes in,
Exactly.
because when you have been given a lot in terms, and our politics becoming more expensive because of these resources that are allocated to the members of parliament. Now,
Absolutely.
the generation are feeling, this new
CDFs
generation are
and all.
feeling frustrated because of those things. They feel services are not reaching them because of matters corruption.
Exactly.
And if the government can find a way on how to channel their resources well that meets the needs of the people on the ground, the electorate, who majority now are youth, then this frustration can easily be handled.
Absolutely.
But we are going into a new compensation. We're going into an election with so many things that the generation that we're dealing with right now had wanted to be put in place and be put right and has not been done.
So none of those issues, none of the grievances, when
None
we look
of the
at
grievances have been
what
met.
the Gen Z movement stood for,
Yes.
none of their grievances have been met.
Have been met.
So it's more or less just us sticking our heads in the sand and hoping everything will be okay until the next revolution.
Majority are saying, oh, the agencies have not registered. Oh, the agencies have been left out. They don't want to register.
Yeah.
Them voicing their opinions and amplifying their opinions via these social media platforms
Exactly.
is more dangerous than them even registering for elections,
Exactly.
for going
Because
to vote. Why? Because if a generation feels frustrated, they can easily pull you. Let me tell you, for an example, if you push any part of the corner, even
fight
take an
back.
animal, push it,
Yep.
let
A rat,
the animal feel frustrated, push it up to the corner. What will the animal do?
even a rat, you
Even a rat
you
will
push a
bite
rat
you.
to the corner, it'll
That
turn
is what's
against you.
going, yes,
Yeah.
that is what's
Yeah.
going to happen
Yeah.
to even the next government if that
it's a
is
ticking
not sorted
time
out.
bomb.
It's a ticking time bomb.
And
Do you
when
know?
it'll erupt, we don't know.
Do you know right now if there is a revolt as was then with the Gen Zs that had happened before? Do you know we don't have someone who can quell that
There's
temperature?
nobody who speaks their language,
There's nobody who can speak,
who understands
who
them.
understands them.
Because when we look actually across, like
Yes.
to Tanzania,
Yes.
who would have thought that the Tanzanian election would have caused such an uproar amongst the youth?
Who have thought? Who would have thought? that that's the
Tanzanians
thing
have
would
always been
would
very
happen?
docile, you know, jamaa, they take
Sisi
it,
ni
even
watu
though
wa
they
ujamaa.
talk, watu wa ujamaa, ndugu yangu, ndugu, and
Yeah.
everything. But things erupted.
Things erupted.
The situation went out of hand.
It's because this generation are tired of promises that are not being fulfilled.
Exactly.
But we are going back to our point. If this generation can revolt the way they did, kukikuwa na andamano ya Gen Zs again,
Completely.
believe you me, it is gonna be worse than it was before.
Exactly.
Because right now we don't have a Raila that can pause and stop
Exactly.
that movement.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, Raila controlled a lot. Raila helped this nation. Without him in the picture, and a lot of things are not being implemented. The debts are not being compensated. Those 10-point agenda that we spoke of are not being done as they'd been promised. Believe you me, we are going into an election with a lot of pressure in place from this young generation.
I think generally what the current leaders need to do is, even they themselves, sit down with the youth, actually have a symposium with the youth, where they invite the youth to come and bring their views.
Yes.
Let the youth feel heard and listen
Let
to
them be in positions within the party.
Because
those senior positions we're talking about, let these youths be subscribed
give
to
them
those
a
senior
place,
positions.
give them a voice.
Give them a
Because
place.
without a place
Isn't
and a
them?
voice, what
Yes.
happens is
Yes.
disruption. You know, we have chaos. And what the Gen Z movement proved is that they can have organized chaos that can be mobilized at any time without a leaderless organized chaos, you know? And that's the thing that actually shocked the status quo.
Yeah, the feeling I have is that the status quo and the political class just tried to manage this generation. Even up till this moment, a lot has not been implemented as per the aspiration and desires of this generation, of these young people. That's why I was saying we are having a time bomb in place. It's ticking.
Exactly.
This generation there are persons who, when they decide to do something, you know, when they were growing up, remember, majority of these people came from time of Matiang'i, when Matiang'i was the Minister of Education.
Absolutely,
And
the 844 system.
Yes, these guys what they hated most when they're growing up is lies.
Absolutely.
When you lie to them, believe you me,
You're
They
gone.
have zero tolerance to lies.
In fact, that's what's been happening to our current president.
Yes.
Most of his rallies, he's been booed because the first thing that comes out of his mouth, the youth are like, hey, wongo, wongo.
Uongo.
Exactly.
And when you hear them communicate and the political class rule it as a mere them looking for, it's just a political cloud or them looking for fame and all that,
No.
it's what we are saying.
Mm-hmm.
The government and the political class needs to understand that this election we are approaching of 2027, the generation, these young people are going to play a major role
Exactly.
in appointing leaders. Their voice are going to be heard from that moment of electioneering period.
And once the election
Because they
has
are
come
going to
to
appoint
inception,
persons who have done something for them is provable on the ground.
something tangible.
Something tangible.
So the leaders better get their act together right now.
They need to get
With
their
these
act
last
together.
remaining months before the election, running up to the elections,
Yes.
they better go back to their constituents, look at what they had promised, their manifestos, and start delivering.
If you're in the position of power, please make sure that in your position of power, you are able to fulfill all the promises that you had given before you were elected.
Absolutely.
Try by all means that you meet even up to 80% or 70% of those promises, or else it's not going to be business as usual.
No.
This generation is never going to forgive you. They will be there working with you in every step, ticking all the boxes out of the promises that you had put. So let's look forward to making sure they do things right for this new generation so that everything becomes a perfect when we're approaching the next election.
Politicians have been using social media to their advantage. So it's about time politicians now walked the talk.
We are going for a break and coming back.
Wangwana, my friend, let me tell you, Zagi, is social media helping us in politics?
It does. That is the president. I love what he's doing on that space.
Exactly.
Try to meet this young generation because remember, social media amplifies the missteps of leadership
Absolutely.
and the services that are less, those that have not been met and those that have been met. Remember, majority of this young generation, they're both the audience and the influencers on the social media.
Absolutely.
So with the president doing all that, he's only targeting a majority of this young generation on that social space.
Absolutely.
It's a dynamic generation, very interesting.
In fact, here in Kenya, the social media area, in fact, has exploded. Because when you look at it, first of all, I think the fastest growing social media presence in the world, Kenya has been noted to have the fastest growing social media presence in the world. No country can comfortably try and take on Kenyans on social media. That's why Kenya is known as, or Nairobi is known as the capital of Africa. I mean, I think Tanzania tried and they failed terribly. And when you look across Africa, Africans, they have a respect for Kenyans on social media.
Actually, that was a very strong take by the president.
Absolutely.
Leaders need to go to that direction.
Completely.
Meeting these guys at their point of comfort is the social media is the direction.
Completely.
Go and explain to these guys what is it that you've done on that social media space. At least the president has already joined and already is in that space, explaining certain developments that he has put in place, and is trying to show how beautiful those developments are. In trying to fulfill the manifestos that they had promised to us during the campaign period.
Exactly.
The political class, together with these old parties, which already, as we speak right now, the traditional parties are being questioned by the youth. They need to have their presence so much more on social media than ever before. Because this is a generation that spends their time on that space, and they want to reach out to those leaders, connect and see the benefits that social media has gained or is giving these leaders to express themselves to them.
Exactly.
One thing we need to know, social media can either be positive and at the same time can either be negative, depending on how we use it to express those views and expectations that we want to propel to this generation.
I think so. And I think so far, a lot of the postings that have been done by most politicians, unfortunately, have been rather negative. It's been a lot of mudslinging and, infighting. And, hurling abuse and stuff. Why don't
showing
these-
ornaments that are bought by the Kenyans,
Exactly.
by the Kenyans' tax money.
You
and
know,
see- yeah.
why don't these politicians show the people the projects they're doing on the ground via social media?
And that will quell.
Why
will quell
don't
the
they just
tension in
post
place.
on their pages?
Yes.
When they each individually have a page.
Yes.
And I remember even like Alfred Mutua, when he was the governor of Machakos, he had a page where he used to post the projects he was doing. Okay.
Yes.
So at least, that was a check. And that was also a progress report. So what the youth are looking for is more or less like a progress report.
I will want to celebrate
From the
our
leaders,
the best our leader and our PS, our PS Raymond Omolo, for what he's doing on the social media space. In every project that he's running,
Yeah.
he's been putting on his social and Facebook page,
Yeah.
just listing on all the projects that the government is doing,
Mhm.
where they've
Where
reached
they're
so
at.
far and where they are.
Mhm.
That in itself is
Real
helping.
time.
Yes, it's real time
Time
information.
development.
Yeah,
and
so
progress
everyone
report.
is able to gauge and is able to connect with the development that is being done. So that we
Exactly.
demystify the false information that is sent there by the political class
Mhm.
against the
What is actually on the
what's
ground.
actually on the ground.
Absolutely.
That needs to happen so that the public, remember this is a grassroots program. We like giving facts as they
Exactly.
are on the ground.
Uh-huh.
So we like leaders who actually post developments that are being done in areas
Real time.
real time so that the public can know
And
what is happening on
And
the
verify.
ground. And verify so that we don't have falsehoods being speculated more than the fact that are on the ground.
completely.
That demystifies as the falsehood being sold to this generation
Exactly.
via the media space by other politicians we go to their own interest, selfish interest.
In fact, social media has
Yes.
made it very easy for politicians,
Yes.
especially when they want to meet and greet the people. Because back in the day, politicians, whenever they had a meeting with the people, you'd hear, mkubwa leo anakuwa na mkutano, lazima mkutane pale fulani. And then, no offense, but this is Kenya. When you're going to meet the people and it's politics, you have to pay the people something. So the politicians, as much as they would organize to meet the people, but they had to have huge sums of money, which they had to distribute to the people. But social media now has cut that out. The politicians can meet the people via social media without distributing huge sums of money.
Without distributing huge sums of money that can be used for
it's a big
development.
relief for them.
It's a big relief. We ask the political class, we are asking the leaders, please try use the social media space. It will reach the majority of the generation and quell the tension that is there between the youth and the government in place.
Absolutely.
And actually between the youth and the leaders. Because once you can propel, once you can show the youth what you've done, then when we are approaching this coming election, they will no longer now be more interested in the independent parties to those
As
old
opposed to
traditional
these
parties.
who have
Yes.
a known track record,
And
something
non
they can
track
prove.
records. Yes. Majority of youths are now pulling away. If you realize, they are not really particularly interested in politics that
No.
much. They are interested in politics that is geared towards development than one that is
Than
geared
geared towards
towards
rhetoric.
rhetoric and
Yes.
PR.
Yeah, talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap. Majority of these politicians run away from development. I like Ndindi Nyoro. As much as there's a lot of speculations that are being said, but you can see what he has done and his work that he has done on the ground.
Okay.
He posts there and then explain in details. If you go on the ground, you find the real thing that
What
he has
is-
done.
what
It's
he
what
talked
he
about.
posted on social media. Yes.
Okay.
This guy has worked
He's got
so
a
hard.
show and tell.
There's a proposal that he had given out that is actually is very possible for members of constituency, these MPs,
Yeah.
to use the capital that they've been given to empower their constituents to an extent that even the school fee can be lowered from whatever the price it is to even 500 bob. It is not something that he says, but
Not
something that
rocket
is working.
science. It's practical.
It's practical. And that is because of the power of social media that we are able to see these informations forthcoming and we have the first-hand information.
Exactly.
So we need our leaders to use this space.
they shouldn't miss that opportunity.
They shouldn't miss that opportunity. The little that you've done, please put it out there so that these young people can gauge you with the promises that you had made.
Exactly.
And then now things work. And then there is now that proper chemistry between you and this young generation.
And also, there's always this thing about the last legs before the general election.
Yes.
Running up to the general election, now politicians always rushing to do projects, always rushing to do things.
Yes.
So, us as Wananchi, this is our time to force these politicians to do something tangible, get whatever we can out of them, and let them be accountable. So my cry or my point is to all Kenyans is make sure you use this time wisely. Make sure that all these politicians are accountable.
Yeah, because the youth.
Because this is our time to get something out of them.
Because the youth are changing the
Exactly.
politics,
Completely.
the political system in Kenya, and especially in the world, as even if you live Kenya. But if we specifically talk about our country,
Yeah.
they are changing the dynamics in that space.
Completely.
Right now, if you don't do it right as a leader, both in this political class or those who are civil servants, believe me, you are going to miss out in this coming generation.
Your history.
You'll
You're
miss
a
out
dinosaur.
big time. Yes.
You're extinct.
You are extinct.
Absolutely.
Be it a party, you will be a party that is never irreversible.
So,
you will never be remembered.
as Wananchi, let's get ready to extinguish these
Let's
dinosaurs.
get ready to extinguish these parties that are not doing things right according to what we need, according to what they are supposed to do. Remember, everyone pays taxes, and you have a right to question every development that is done. We have a right to question that leader seated there. You have a right to question any person in power, so long as they've been given an opportunity to work for you. It is your tax.
And I finally like to say that, the government also, I know they do have social media pages where the youth can go and voice whatever
Their
grievances
opinions,
or their opinions. I think the government now should reach out more, because if the government constantly has a social media presence, like every time they're posting, what they're doing, what they're up to, and inviting people to come and comment, then now that becomes an inclusive government, and also one that the youth can identify with. Because it's about time that discord and that gap between the youth and the government is bridged.
That is true. Some of the members in parliament and in government are doing it already with the president that we talked about. We also have the CS Treasury doing the same, meeting the people via social media, even on the ground. Let's try to explain much to the public so that public participation can be fully met.
My Kenya, my country, my home. I love you, Kenya. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because of love. So we have touched on various subjects. Some might be very close to home. Some people might feel we're a bit personal. But we do not intend to harm anybody. What we're trying to do is just make Kenya a much more exciting place to live in, because it already is anyways. So, with what we've said today, if you've got any comments to add, please do. But my call to the politicians and the youth is this. Youth, please register as voters. Yes, you have a voice. Yes, we want to listen to you. I'm not a youth, but I was a youth once. So I do know what it feels like not to be listened to. And the politicians, please take time to listen to the youth and engage them. Because the more you engage with the youth, the better this country becomes. And finally, I'd like to say that in all that has happened so far, we still have a beautiful country. We still have hope to look forward to. We still have a good quality of life to live here in Kenya. And so with all that's there, please, let's preserve it. Let's enjoy it. Let's celebrate it. We're all Kenyans. We all one big family.
Fellow viewers, it is now time to listen to this young generation. They are frustrated. Their voice are amplified via social media spaces. Let's do it right by them. Let's have the best things for them. Communicate your ideas to this young generation. Take part and be part of this movement called Gen Zs by just showing them what that good thing, that little thing that you've done. Show them the progress that is being put in place. And then these guys will subscribe to your thought. I believe it's now time. They're changing the political landscape. They are a very interesting generation, dynamic in all sectors. Let's look forward to joining up with them via the social media space, amplifying every sector of government services to this young generation, those that they can feel part and parcel of government policies being implemented in place. Now, as grassroots, we are here to tell you more and more about facts that are there on the ground. It's not just a podcast. It's what, my brother?
It's a movement.